What is going on? Happy Thanksgiving. This is another episode of Wrestling Therapy. Of course, am your host, Suji. The chair has been filled. Moose, what is up?
Just living life and enjoying wrestling.
That sounds like a good life to me. So, since we talked, quite a few things has happened. AEW World Champion has been changed.
Shockingly.
Let's just start there. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, it's kind of refreshing. As much as I love Hangman and Cowboy shit, I do appreciate them giving Joe the world title, especially after all the work he's done. I appreciate them doing more with Hook and putting him back in with the Ops. Although I feel like with him back in the Ops with Hobbs and Shibata, they're going to use that to drop the Trios title sooner rather than later. Um, I love them bringing out the Ops Dojo. I think that's a great turn. And then, of course, Whose House but Swerve's House back with a so far lesser theme. So it's fun to see Swerve and Hangman on one side versus the Ops.
That's probably going to be a match at World's End, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm honestly thinking that, especially with them turning the Bucks back into the Elite with Kenny Omega earlier in the night, and then Hangman losing, if they're going to push the Elite versus the Don Callis family again, or if they're going to include the Elite versus the Ops.
Maybe a Stadium Stampede match in the future.
I mean, I'm down for it. I was there live for the one in May, and that was entertaining as hell. So I'm
How
always
was
down
that
for those matches.
experience?
It was awesome. I took our friends. It was their first wrestling show ever. We're sitting up there, we're getting ready to watch. They went to go grab a snack and go to the bathroom, and when they came back, they're like, "Yeah, they told us we had to sit down, otherwise we'd be blocked out." Because Claudio came out right next to us to start the match, and then got fucking stolen by Joe. So that was fun to watch, and the whole time we were just giggling like, "Hey, we just saw a motherfucker get stolen to start the match." So, I mean, all ends the starts well, ends well.
Started off hot. Makes sense.
Absolutely, and the crowd singing the "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" like it was so much fun.
What was your overall takeaway from Full Gear? What did you like? What did you didn't like, if anything?
I really liked the Statlander Mercedes Monet match. I think that was solid. I loved Chris Statlander's entrance coming out the space pod, doing her little roll into her pose. I love the fact that she retained still building up the "I'm the best. This is the sole focus." Mercedes continually being right there, but because she's so focused on having so many belts coming up short, I really enjoyed the Josh Alexander trying to deal with the Bucks and their craziness, and the super kick party is always fun to watch for me. Um, Overall, it was a really good show. The women's four way tag match was great. Um, it's hard to beat an AEW pay per view for me because they're all genuinely fun.
Okay, I didn't really watch any of this. I usually try to catch a couple matches or so. I was very surprised Darby lost. Not very. I was surprised Darby lost, and I was surprised Hangman lost. I like that they took those opportunities because, as you said, it's kind of freshens it up. And Joe should be a world champion before he retires, which, as we've spoken many times, a lot of these guys are starting to get to that point where they start winding down in their careers now.
Yeah, and it's one thing as a wrestling fan that I've come to terms with. Although it's sad that obviously they're retiring. Cena's retiring, Joe's gonna retire, Styles gonna retire, Orton, the Lesser Mysterio, seeing all of
Huh.
them, that whole generation. But at the same time, I could be thankful that that generation can retire while they're still pretty healthy and in the right mind, and not have to do the Ric Flair, Terry Funk, Roddy Piper, all those legends of old where they're still wrestling up till 60s, 70s until essentially they're passing away.
That is so true, and I think it really started with, I guess for me, recent memory was Taker when he did the retirement at Survivor Series during COVID in front of nobody, but that retirement of the dead man felt very special without people even having to be in the arena. And like you said, it's really nice to see that these guys are like, yeah, I'm gonna go out the way I have to instead of I can't move or there's some debilitating injury to keep him out of the ring.
Yeah, and I'll tag that on partly to my forever hatred of Hulk Hogan. In the wise words of the Iron Sheik, fuck Hulk Hogan. I break your back, I humble you. And denying the wrestler union, because that, I feel like pensions, health insurance, stuff like that, could have prevented a lot of, those guys suffering and coming back later. So, I will stay on the record. I will forever fucking hate Hulk Hogan.
I
As a
don't blame you.
wrestler and a person.
I don't blame you. Like even go like you can go back 15, 20 years. It's like you see some of these guys that you look at the list of wrestlers that died before like 40. You got people like Crash Holly, Test, and it's like, man, like wrestling has changed so much over the past decade plus. It's when you see guys like Eddie Guerrero that pass away young, Benoit for whatever you may believe happened, but I like to be able to see that some of my favorites just to be able to walk away if they want to appear.
Yeah, and I think it also goes to just not only the change in the mentality and obviously their health, but like you look at a lot of the rosters now, and go back to 2000, all the wrestlers still, as soon as they were off the clock, they were working so many hours, so many matches, always on the road. All they were doing was drinking, drugs, getting into bar fights, doing crazy dumb shit. Now they're back there. They're playing a wrestling game. They're playing 2K. They have different channels. They have different outlets. Where yeah, the older generation shits on them, but at the same time they're staying healthy, and they're staying out of trouble for the most part. And one of them that will always make me laugh. Congrats to the new national champion Ricochet and him shitting on older wrestlers like Cornette, where it's like, yeah, we're not the same as you. We're better health wise. We're pulling in more money. We're doing this smarter.
You can't argue facts.
Mm-mm.
You can't argue facts, and it it's it feels like it happens in waves where it's like, man, it's like it's one, then it's another, then it's another. It's like, damn, damn, damn. Like, man, everybody's getting ready to retire, but it needs to happen for the younger guys to get opportunities
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
eventually these guys are going to have to carry the company.
Yeah, and that's the younger guys taking over. It feels even, and I'm gonna get shit on this. I know. With WWE, they're not letting a lot of the younger guys do the come up. A lot of what they're doing now just takes me back to like end of the century WCW. They're bringing in a lot of AEW guys and a lot of very popular indie guys that are already in their mid to late 30s and putting them over. They pretty much wrote themselves into a corner with the John Cena tournament because you have Jacob Fatu out, you have Penta who just got injured, you had fucking who's the other guy? One of someone else just got injured too.
Famous.
Sheamus got injured, and you don't really have a lot of good options left. It's all again, it's the older guys that have been there for a while that have the history that are still in the tournament. It's kind of putting them in a bad position because now you have too many injuries, not enough young blood, and your main eventers, everyone's kind of getting tired of a lot of them. So you have Braun, they're not ready to pull the trigger yet, but then you have Jay that most people don't want to see him in the top matches anymore. At least not in the Cena retirement match. Even Gunther doesn't need it. Like he's late 30s, world champion, longest reigning IC champ. He doesn't need to be the one to put Cena down. That doesn't do anything for him.
I wish they would have. I like the tournament aspect, but I will agree with you. There's a lot of matches we've seen already. I feel like if you had a guy like Javon Evans versus Cena, that would be great for him. A, a Ethan Page would have been fine. A Braun Breaker. If you're going to build these guys up for the future, it's really it's like, yeah, we're gonna give Gunther took out Goldberg, okay, and Cena, okay, well, what's Gunther going to do now?
Right. Like honestly, I think the best case scenario would have been Carmelo at this point, because then you have the young blood who can work the match as best, whatever that he needs to do with Cena to fit, what Cena can do at this point while still keeping it entertaining. And you could have worked in there like rips on the old Doctor of Thugonomics shit when he comes out for their match, and you could have worked that into a story. But we're going back to Cena versus the anti-American gimmick that they've always done.
And I'm sure the match is gonna be fine, and it makes the next question interesting here. We have Survivor Series coming up in a few days, Saturday, and John Cena is defending the Intercontinental title against the greatest Intercontinental champion and the greatest Mysterio, Dirty Dominic Mysterio. There's a case where you could have a conversation that Cena could win this match. There's a conversation where Dom should win this match. My question to you is a loss to Dom and a potentially loss to Gunther hurt anything Cena has done this year?
Honestly, no, because he's already had such a mixed bag this year between all the different storylines, rivalries, the flip flop on the heel turn. Um, it doesn't really hurt him, and he's gotten everything. He's checked every box. He's been Money in the Bank. He's been a Royal Rumble winner. He's held every single title. He's broken the record for the most world titles. Um, he doesn't need any wins, and he hasn't for a while. And he did that in like 2017, and through the COVID era, and just after when he came back and had that original feud with Roman Reigns, and got shit on by the Miz and everything. Like he doesn't need the wins at this point. That's the thing is, unless the story going into a match predicates a win, he doesn't need it. So like the same thing with a Rey Mysterio, he doesn't need a win against Dom. Let that let Dom retire him. There's no story that would make sense for him to win. The only like veteran that would make sense to win another like big title would be a Randy Orton, and it wouldn't even be so much to push Randy Orton up further. It would help set up Randy and Cody to build Cody's personality more on the main roster, not so much give that accolade to Orton.
That's true. I think another guy like that is AJ Styles. I would like to see AJ Styles get another title reign before he retires. World title reign.
Yeah. No, and I honestly think you could do a lot with him and CM Punk. Um, Bringing the whole indie history back, and the fact that they were both in TNA for a hot minute when it both started, is you can work an interesting storyline and give him the world title, because I mean they're not going to lose anything either way. CM Punk's established; he's going to be a Hall of Famer at some point. AJ Styles, same thing; he's a Hall of Famer at some point. It would just you can have these two guys go for it and give him a week, 2 week, even a month long reign, and give it back to him, or have it drop it to the next guy, and it makes sense.
But before we even get into that, there was also another thing with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns basically walked away and said to Cody and Punk, "That's how to look better on me," but didn't really elaborate on who he was talking to. Now, again, you could go Roman versus Cody 3, which okay, I mean we've seen it twice. Or do you go Roman Punk? Something different, something new, newish.
So yeah, I would honestly go Roman Punk only because that's gonna help solidify the journey that Reigns has been through, because he was known for being trash on the mic for so long and being pushed so heavy that you can work into the story and like show like, hey, I don't need Paul, I don't have Paul anymore. Part and due fact to you, man to man, I'm better than you in every category, and I don't need any support for it. And they both work slower styles at this point, so you could work that in. My only caveat is based on how they're doing things, especially going into war games. I definitely see Jay turning on Jimmy, and I think they're gonna work that in with Roman, and that's part of why he's come back already. Because, and I'm gonna spoil this now. I don't see the good guys winning at war games at all, because you have so many, pulling my dick out measuring contests on one team. They're gonna shit the bed on themselves. There's no good story for them to win. The only thing that would make sense coming out of this, other than to have like a good guy pop, would be to have the Vision win. You can build Logan versus Punk going into the end of the year, going into Royal Rumble. You can do Drew versus Cody again, if you have Drew be the one that pins Cody. And you have the Vision solidifying themselves. Hey, we're mainstays here. And they have it essentially a nuke in Brock Lesnar. Granted, that's if he can get to the ring without falling on his ass or ripping his pants. But it's hard to underestimate how much damage he could do in that match.
Yeah, I agree. I do think this match leans heavier on the heels should win. I ultimately I would like to happen, which would be kind of cool, if at some point, let's say Jacob Fatu starts making his way to the ring, and you're like, oh shit, he's getting ready to come after Drew, and then security kind of separates them. Drew picks up the win on Cody because of the distraction, and you could
Yeah.
build who Fatu was actually going after. Because it's like, oh well, he's going after the guy that attacked him. Everybody's going to think it was Drew McIntyre, but then he goes after Cody.
Right.
Something different, something cool.
Yeah, and it's a way again to not necessarily shit on their Avengers level heroes, but still give them the pin essentially. Because you're not gonna have any of these guys in this match tap out. That's not gonna happen. It's just gonna be a pinfall.
Right.
But I also think that they can play a few different ways, like with Logan Paul in here. And I'll shit on Logan Paul. I posted a TikTok shitting on Stevie Richards, saying that Logan Paul is better than everyone on the AEW roster, because that's just fucking absurd. Um, you can do a few interesting things with Logan Paul in here, because I think he's going to be the one to do the high spot. He's going to do he's probably going to do some form of a moonsault off the cage and say he's the first person to do it. And I would not be surprised if everyone moved and he misses and his own team laughs at him. Or you have Cody try to go up for it and get stopped. But Logan Paul, I feel like, is going to be the essentially the meat shield in this. he's going to be, we've already seen it. He gets fucking betrayed by his team. Everyone get in the ring, and then they all just stand back. He goes in and gets jumped by the entire good guy team, which is still
I
the
could see
funniest
that.
shit that is happening on Raw. And I'm calling it now. They're going to just push him out. If he's not the first person in War Games, when they do the countdown, his team's just going to push him out when they want him out there. Um, they're just going to shove him out. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like yeah, you go down there.
But
So you're predicting
the
a Jimmy heel turn.
I'm predicting that Jay is going to turn on Jimmy, build
Jay,
to
excuse me.
build more on the mini Roman, and they're going to build that back up. I don't think they're going to do another WrestleMania match, but they're going to build up another big one-on-one match to essentially say, hey, we need to make up for that shit ass match that we had before at Mania because that was fucking terrible. Um, and push Jimmy because first of all, Jimmy's better than Jay in the ring, but that gives both of them more character development as far as what they've been building toward, and you can interject Reigns back into that. Hey, we're trying to get everyone unified again. What the fuck are you guys doing?
That'll be interesting. I think my official pick is I want to go to heels. Brock. I mean, Brock Lesnar alone just kind of just like weighs pretty heavy. Brock, Bronson, Braun, Logan, Drew. Neither one of those guys should be taking a loss here. If they lose, it doesn't do anything for anybody.
No, but my guess would be, or my drinking game is going to be how many like spot moments can you guess ahead of time. So I'm wondering how many people Braun's going to spear if he's going to spear someone through a cage wall because they've done that before with Lashley. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it with Braun and his fucking world level sprinting.
Huh.
But or if you're going to have Bronson do another splash off the top and hopefully not break his foot again.
I wouldn't even think about it if I was Bronson. I'm like, hey, how you doing that shit this
Mm-hmm.
year? Fuck that.
Or if he'll steal Roman shoes again on the way out.
He should do that. That he should do. That's always hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, no, go ahead.
no, I think we're basically on an agreement there with the heels should win this match. That's going to be my more than likely my official pick.
Who do you think starts for each team?
But I think starts. I think Jimmy starts for the men for baby faces, and it's going to be Logan Paul.
So,
What
I
about
think
you?
they're gonna I think they're gonna start with Jay on the men's side. They're gonna start with him. He's already gonna be gassed and slow, so it's not gonna change his space at all. And I think on the heel side, they're probably gonna start with Bronson because he's you could feed him in pretty quick. That way you don't have to have you could still have Drew have his big come up when he gets in the ring. You could still have Bronson or Braun Breaker do his spears when he gets in the cage because he's going to murder everyone when he gets in there. Same
Yeah.
thing with Brock, and then you can work with Logan Paul diving in or bringing in weapons or bringing a prime bottle or whatever and getting pushed out. So I think it's going to be Jay and Bronson to start.
Okay. We got the much anticipated women's world title match with Nikki Bella versus Stephanie Velcro, according to Miss Naomi, for the women's world championship. I'm going Stephanie. I don't see any situation
Yeah,
why she should lose.
no, Nikki doesn't need it. It only makes sense for Stephanie.
Then we got the Intercontinental Championship match: John Cena versus Dirty Dom. I'm going Dirty Dom for the win, obviously.
I'm going Dirty Dom. I will put a caveat on that. The only way I see him losing is interference between Grande Americanos and Judgment Day because they are building more of that infighting.
I've been hearing people predict Liv Morgan. Excuse me. People predicting Liv Morgan to make a return.
That would be fun, but I feel like with that return, you save. That's one of those you save for Rumble.
Yeah. And then we have the women's War Games match. You got the babyface team of Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, Lash, Legend, Asuka, and Kyrie. Now, hopefully, that crooked referee they call Jessica is not refereeing this match. Because if she is, then Becky's going to lose.
So, I have a couple thoughts on this one. First, I want to say that last year when they did it and they had Nia in there, I want to give a lot of credit to Nia because she went from being the one everyone shit on for injuring everyone and not being able to wrestle to being trusted to be the first person in War Games last year. In holding it down. Nia's had nothing but improvement. I just want to give her credit because she doesn't get enough, honestly, and especially now with Last Legend, she go kill people with that forearm in there, and I'm ready for that. Alexa Bliss has been selling the hell out of that.
I 1,000% agree with you on that. I think the Nia disrespect is old at this point. Obviously, the company trusts her because just for the reasons they put her with Lash Legend. Like, hey, this you would be working with Nia Jax, somebody that is also a large woman that can dominate. She can help you. They're not going to put her with anybody.
Yeah, and honestly, it only works out for both of them. Um, it gives me Big Show Kane vibes from back in the day. They're just gonna walk in and sweep everyone. But this one, I'm interested to see how Io Sky does her spot off the cage because she went from doing just a regular dive to a moonsault in a trash can. Maybe it'll be a barbed wire trash can this year. She'll have sparklers or who knows what it'll be. But I think for this one, it's hard to say who's gonna win only because both sides kind of need it at this point. So you go through each side of it. Rhea could use a big win. It's been a while since she's had a big win. Io Sky used the win, put her back in the title picture. Charlotte and Alexa just lost their titles. And, I mean, obviously, everyone wants to see AJ win, especially on her first comeback. In her only her second match back. Then you have the heels who definitely need it. Give them a big win. It's only going to be better for Lash Legend. Solidify her and Nia more as a team going forward. Kabuki Warriors, again, they portray well, but they don't have a good record the last couple years. They've been kind of back and forth on that. And then obviously Becky needs another big win, especially since she lost her title to our awesome champ Maxine.
Um,
Which LA
um,
Knight text your sister.
first of all, sir, Becky Lynch didn't lose the Intercontinental Championship. Okay, she was robbed of the Intercontinental Championship. AJ Lee did not have a managerial license to be down there, so I'm not understanding why she was even there in the first place. Also, she's had to deal with a crooked referee, Jessica Carr, who counts 1, 2, 3 on a title match because she's upset. Just calling facts. That's
Yeah,
all
no,
I'm saying.
if I was gonna have to pick, I think I'd pick the heel team only because you could put Becky back into the world title picture after this. Because use this, they're gonna go into another Becky AJ match. This time a one-on-one, but you could use this to expedite that a little bit, give it a little bit more gravitas. And then long term, I honestly want to see Lyra versus Becky again. to boost Lyra back up to the world title picture after she drops Bailey as a partner.
I had a guest on yesterday, and one of the questions that came up, one of the games was Lyra Valkyria, and I've had quite a few guests on, and I have not had very many like Lyra Valkyria. I see both sides of it, but I don't think she's as bad as some people make her out to be.
No, with Lyra, she gets a lot of hate. I think a part of that is just when people see her, they immediately go, "Oh, she's small and she's a bird lady." But especially after all that work with Becky over the summer, um, or the spring, I see her pretty soon going up to that world title picture. And to use hindsight, if you look back at Becky when she'd only been on the roster, the main roster for a couple years, versus where Lyra is at right now, Lyra is already way beyond where Becky was at the same point. She's still got to work on the mic. They all do. They don't get better and solid on the mic usually till they're pretty seasoned and at least 5-6 years. I feel like in the main event or at least on the main roster. So you look at her in ring work, her presentation. She's gonna be the next generation. She's gonna be a standard bearer. And people shit on her now, but watch this back in a few years. She's gonna be at least a couple time world champ standard bearer. Same thing with Tiff. Same thing, unfortunately, with Jade, where they're using them to push the company forward. Hopefully Jade improves, but otherwise it's going to be heavy on everyone else to help keep everything afloat.
And that's another person. I don't think Jade is as bad as people make her out to be. I feel like the Jade hate is very aggressive because there's worse people that has matches out there and nobody bats an eye. But it's like as soon as they see Jade, it's like, oh my god, she's the worst in the ring. I'm like, she's not though.
See, I don't think she's the worst. I just think she's not a top level yet. But they're forcing it again, and it's going to be, she has to work with the big names, the ring generals, to keep her up because she's not great on the mic. And her matches are solid, but they're not like anything to write home about. If they had kept her, like, if they had put the U.S. women's title on her, that would make more sense right now. But because her presentation has been so over the top, especially after that Naomi feud, they booked themselves into a corner.
Yeah, I feel like her next big feud is probably going to be Charlotte. They teased that last year or earlier in the year, I believe they kind of had a brief stare down with each other. I could very well see that match being Charlotte's WrestleMania match.
Yeah, I think you have currently 3 or 4 people that are lined up to basically help build Jade up more. You have Charlotte, like you said, that's an obvious one to build up. They have Alexa in there. I would not be surprised if they pushed Julia up at that. Have Julia do a great job in the Royal Rumble and then push her toward facing Jade. Because you also have then Julia with Kiana James, so you have some more tools in that match and that storyline. Or even if they moved Lyra over, because Lyra could work wonders with that. You have Jade just throwing her around and her trying to, leverage her limbs and appendages like that UK style and just a big underdog fight.
Yeah, that's and the future should be bright for a lot of these stars. But I think my pick for this War Games match is I'm gonna go to faces here. I feel like match order is probably going to be Women's War Games, then the Women's World Championship, Cena Dom semi-main, and then the Men's War Games is probably going to be main.
Yeah, they're not gonna have Brock on an opening match or
No,
Roman at this point. So yeah,
I mean Roman did the opening match in Australia, against Bronson, but unless they start off with Cena versus Dom, which I guess
No.
if Dom wins, when Dom wins, you got the heel winning, then the women's war games, which would be the face, Stephanie versus Nikki, which would be the face, and then you can end with the heels on top.
Yeah, that makes sense. I genuinely think it's just going to be the women. They're going to have the good guys win for the women. They're going to roll into Dom winning the IC title back, Stephanie winning, heels to end the show with the Vision winning.
I can see that too. All right. Well, you said you had a game that you had, and I'm down for some games.
Yep. So, for this, I'm going to give you 3 championships to keep it nice and simple, and I'm going to give you 2 options to pick who you're putting the title on.
Okay.
This isn't current, this is just whole span of time. So, to start, we're going to go with a classic. We're going to go with the European Championship. And you have Claudio Castagnoli. And you have D'Lo Brown.
D'Lo.
Gotta
I like
wiggle in
that. D'Lo, yeah. Nothing against Claudio, but yeah, D'Lo.
Then we're going to go the classic early 90s WWE Tag Team Championship belts.
Okay.
And you have the Legion of Doom. And you have Axe and Smash.
Can't go wrong with either. Give me LOD.
Hell yeah. And then for the women, we're going to go with the Women's Championship from the early 2000s. And we're going to go Mickie James. And we're going to go with... Fuck it. We're going to go with Lita.
Mickie James. I feel like Mickie James is very underrated.
Honestly, she's better on the mic. I mean, I love Lita, but she was never great at the mic.
When Mickie was doing the Psycho Mickie with Trish Stratus, man, she played that Psycho character so well.
Yeah, and I love the fact. I don't know if you had listened to the Chris Van Vliet show that he had her on and she was talking about. That was her idea. That Psycho Stalker fan. That was her idea originally to go after Lita, but they pitched it over to Trish Stratus.
I think Trish worked out better, honestly.
I think especially at that point because Lita had so many neck issues that it was a lot more stable. And honestly, as much as everyone loves Trish and Lita, at the time, Trish is a way bigger name.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, I got a game now. You're going to blind rank current theme songs. Give you 5 of them.
Gotcha.
All right. This could be from any promotion. Swerve.
The one he just came back with, or Swerve?
Previous one.
Swerve
I haven't heard the new one yet.
Yeah. The Prince Nana. Okay. I'm gonna go 3 on that one. It's not my favorite, but it is pretty solid, so I'll go 3.
All right. We are gonna go with Charlotte Flair.
5.
That felt a little aggressive and quick, but all right, okay. All right, let's go with Kenny Omega.
2. That one I do enjoy. That one's solid.
Okay. Gunther.
Ooh. I'll go 4.
4. Okay. And then the last choice was John Cena.
Yeah, I'll put that at 1. I'll take Thugonomics or My Time Is Now. They're both solid.
Agreed. Agreed. Not a not a lost situation there.
All right, I got 5 for you then.
All right, let's go.
And we're going to start off hot.
Yeah.
Batista's I Walk Alone.
Shit. All right. Okay. Now walk alone. Okay, we start. Yeah. 3 is a good number. I like 3. I like to start off with 3.
All right, we're going to go with the 2000s Triple H theme, The Game.
The game. No. It's not my time. Okay. We'll slap it in at 5.
All right, we're going to go with the OG WWE Booyaka 619 Rey Mysterio.
4.
Who's that jumping out the sky?
I did like it. I did low key like it. Like,
All right, we're going to go with Real American, since we did bring up Hogan earlier.
2.
And the last one, This Fire Burns.
I can accept that as number 1. I can accept that. That's a good one. All right, my last
I
game
should have
is
done Biscuits and Gravy.
Biscuits and Gravy. I am going to give you alternative theme songs for these wrestlers for you
Alright.
to blind react. Triple H is My Time.
Not my favorite, but
Woo!
I do enjoy it. It's very hard because it's right there for me, but the King of Kings is just so good with him.
I feel the opposite. I didn't really care for the King. My Time for me was just slap. You know, him walking out with fucking Stephanie, both holding fucking world titles and shit. I was like, yeah, that shit. Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, though. I get it.
Yeah, I love it, but like when you think of him, you think of King of Kings, you think of that Conan the Barbarian entrance, you think of him and Lenny.
I get it. All right. So where you gonna put it at?
I'm gonna put that at 2.
2. Okay, it's not that bad. Okay. Let's go with Randy Orton, Burning My Light.
That one, I love that one. I'm gonna go 3.
Okay. Kane, Slow Chemical.
Oh, 1.
Oh, yeah. They're 5.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite intros. Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. Stone Cold Disturbed theme.
5.
Oh, I love that theme song. I fuck love that.
I love it, but it's not toward the top for me. Outside that initial glass shatter, it kind of falls, a little lower.
And then the last one was Drew McIntyre. I can't remember the name of it now.
Broken Dreams or the current
Yes. Broken Dreams.
one? Oh, Broken Dreams. That's again one of my favorites. I'm alright putting that at 4.
Me, I prefer Drew's current theme song.
See,
Me.
I dig Broken Dreams way better. I think it's got a more like sadistic, almost like threatening aura to it. And especially over just I hate the use of just plain instrumentals that they've gone with. I miss the old era of having them come in, have the badass lyrics, have other bands come in and do it. To use the term "def rebeling" shit. Like one of my other favorites is "No One Will Survive" for Tommaso Ciampa.
No one will survive. This is a great one.
Which
Johnny's
again,
Rebel.
I want to point out late 2010s Black and Gold NXT Ciampa was a fucking menace, and that was the best version of him. When he could come out to a takeover with no music, just fans booing him.
Oh, man, the good old days. One of my favorites from Theme Song from the Black and Gold was Undisputed Era.
That was solid. I might get shit on for this. I've never been an Adam Cole fan.
Fair enough. Everybody has their flavor of tea. Would you care to
Yeah, like
explain why?
so for me, he always felt watered down to me. Like he was solid in the ring, he was solid on the mic, but he had super kicks that he spammed that weren't even like the better super kicks of the time. He didn't have a great finisher. It was kind of awkward to set up. And then he had the flipping pile driver that, I mean, now it's the Mexican Destroyer Penta. He just, I was never really a big fan of his, and even in Undisputed Era, I was like, I'd rather watch a Roddy match. I'd rather watch Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, we all know the worst one was Bobby Fish, but at least he was good in tag matches.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair criticism. I like when people bring logic instead of just like, oh, I don't like this person, and then just say a bunch of like incorrect things. Like, okay, well, that's you feel some type of way about them. But I'm glad you gave me a good explanation, though.
Yeah, it for me, if I'm looking at a wrestler, even if I don't enjoy him, it takes a lot for me to straight up not like or hate a wrestler. I can be way more pushed to apathy. Like with Adam Cole, cool. He had some cool matches. I didn't really care for him. Same thing. Honestly, I don't care for a lot of Shinsuke stuff in WWE. I prefer him in New Japan, and I prefer the black and gold Shinsuke NXT era. But I mean, he's still solid. It's just I don't really care at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I don't disagree with you there. I do feel like Shinsuke has been nerfed. But yeah, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about or share before we wrap up?
Long shot. Who do you think main events Mania going into next year?
I am gonna go with Gunther versus Cody, night 1, and Roman versus Punk, night 2.
I mean, solid.
What about you?
I think you're gonna see Braun Breaker Punk for night 1. It's gonna be the Vision. It's gonna bring Paul Heyman back with CM Punk. And then night 2, I honestly think it could be Reigns Rock, because as much as they're shooting for, I'm gonna hate it just as much as everyone else, but they need the star power. The Rock needs to give himself a boost, and they've already been building toward it. So I
I,
think you're gonna get a lot more bloodline infighting until the Rock comes back.
I'm okay with that. They could just save that for the Saudi WrestleMania. They're gonna want The Rock there anyway. They're gonna want Yokozuna and Hogan and um whoever else they can find. Benoit. I mean, they're gonna want everybody.
Yeah.
Well, sir, thank you for joining. Another classic conversation as always. And hopefully the next time we speak, everything would be right with the world. The axis would be properly balanced because the greatest Mysterio ever will now become a 2-time double champion in the same year. Has Rey Mysterio done that? Have not. But that's just me.
He might have been a double champ. No, I don't think he was double champ at any point.
He's never held the Intercontinental and the AAA title.
But he did retire JBL. And now his
But-
son's going to retire him.
Full circle. Full circle. Well, that was another episode of Wrestling Therapy. I, of course, am Wasuji. Moose, thank you again. And we will see you on the other side of Survivor Series.
Have a good one, y'all.